and that has becoming an issue related to quorum. And we have a budget season coming up, and the Finance Committee actually has an important role that's prescribed by charter or bylaw that they need to have hearings a certain amount of time. So it's not a good time to not make quorums and for meetings to not happen, just so we can be all in order when it comes time to town meeting. In terms of my background is finance. I have worked mostly on the operations side of finance. But 3 jobs ago, I ran an e-commerce company, and I was responsible for every aspect of the company, and that was about a $6 million company. Then I joined a larger company that I was responsible for about it was a $12 million unit. It was a multi-million-dollar company. Then I was CEO of a medical supply company for about 2 years, and that was also $1 million, and I was responsible for all the operations and the budgets related to the operations. And now I own my own business. I own 2 gyms, and one located in Westford and one located in Wayland, and I've been doing that for the past 3.5 years. So in terms of the town operations and finance, just through various roles, I have become fairly familiar with our budget and, outstanding debt and everything related to it.
Have you been to any of their meetings?
I have watched many of them, and I have been to several throughout the time, the years.
Thank you. Turn it over to Tom or Brian for questions.
For the public, what committees have you been on in the past, and are you currently on any other committees?
I was on the Parks Commission for 3.5 years. I'm currently serving with the Council on Aging. There's 2 working groups that I'm part of it. They're not official committees in town, which is Economic Development and the Open Space. They both serve to the Planning Board, and those are one is assigned to the other, and they just report to the Planning Board. So that's my background.
Thank you. That's all I had.
So I have one question because of your answer to the why now, and your answer didn't seem one of interest, but one of, well, I think we need a quorum.
We need to serve, yes.
Well, getting a body is not something I'm terribly interested in because, again, just for a body, I'm looking for somebody who would be interested in the town interest. So
yeah. I mean, sorry for not elaborating. I definitely care a lot about the town and every aspect of it, not just, parks or Council on Aging. I care about the town in general. So, yes, I want to serve the town, and I probably wouldn't serve on the Personnel Committee or the Cultural Council because that's not my knack for it. But, serving is a big deal for me, and serving their community. So, yeah.
So I only have one other question, and that is, I know that you're very active in town, and these openings have been open for some time, I don't know, probably since October or something. So why now?
Well, actually, there was one opening that had been opened since I think Ms. Tavares had not been renewed last summer, and Mr. Passios just left in the end of the year. So
and the chair left a while back.
The chair left, and someone else jumped in. The chair left fairly recent. It was in December that the chair left.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Are there any particular things about the finances of the town that piqued your interest? Are there any particular issues, any particular departments or targets that you're concerned about?
No, I think, the Finance Committee plays an interesting role, which is just to advise the committees and to ask questions. So I think it's just helping the town and get through the next budget season and continue the work that the current group has already been doing. There has been a lot of talking, both from the Finance Committee and the Budget Task Force, about possibly consolidating some functions in town. I think that's an interesting thing to think about it because I can see the value of that from an operational side and the savings being realized from that. So I think it's just working together and making sure we are doing the best with the tax money that we have.
aware of the time commitment.
I know, budget season. You have
Alonzo
someone.
usually tells people about the time commitment.
Well, I know that she said that she's listened to and attended some of them, and I've been at some that she's attended, so I'm sure she's fully aware of the commitment.
Brian,
Yeah.
someone wants to get in on Zoom.
I don't have any other questions.
Thanks.
For Anna, if any, Brian or Tom?
No, I think we're all set.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Good. Anna, thank you for coming in. You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
All right, thank you. I'll hang out for a little bit in case somebody has a follow-up.
Let's put on hold for a second. I want to see why we're not getting the Zoom on here.
Hold on a second. Tom's going to check on our technical difficulties. And then we can get the next person ready, though. George Burden, 39 Cortlandt Circle. I don't see him in person. I don't know if he's on Zoom.
Maybe he's citizen.
George Burden, are you on Zoom? You can unmute yourself.
Mr. Burton? Okay. Annie didn't put specific times down on each of the interviews, but I told her to tell the candidates to be about 7 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So it is now 29 past the hour. So
Michael Rupp,
we would be here.
feel free to come up. So we do have Michael Rupp.
Yeah,
We can move on once Tom,
Get back and see if Mr. Burton is doing this.
yeah, once Tom gets back, we can get started.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
How are you?
We'll get to you in just a moment. Thank you.
Sure thing. How old is this room?
I know the building's very old.
I don't see the pressed tin ceilings anymore.
Yeah. Yes. Sarah, just gotta admit Pack into the meeting.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. So hopefully Tim will be able to hear you a little better, but Tom is back. If you want to proceed.
Is Tom back?
Yes, Tom's back.
Okay. So thank you, Thomas.
All right, there you are.
Okay.
I see the man, the voice, the face behind the voice.
You didn't know what I looked like anymore, huh? Okay, so again, we are the Finance Committee, Appointing Committee, and we are conducting interviews here for 2 vacancies that we have on the Finance Committee. And the next person on the agenda to be interviewed is Michael Rupp of 390 Hollis Road. Mr. Rupp, I don't think we've ever met, so maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself. And then the standard question that I'm asking everyone is why finance and why now? But tell us about yourself as well.
Sure, I've lived in Lunenburg for the last 25 years. I'm an engineer by trade, sales engineer, project manager. recently became a empty nester and have some time on my hands, and thought I would get back to the town that we've lived in for so long, and I want to keep it going strong. You know, it's we love the town, and it's a great place to live. So, why Finance Committee?
Yeah.
Finances are the lifeblood of any organization. So if you want to make a difference, start at the roots and try to help out as best you can in that manner.
Okay. Have you been to any finance committee meetings or watched them on Zoom?
I have not been to a finance committee meeting, no. So a friend of mine told me about the 2 openings, and he said you should look into it. And you know, given my background in sales and project management and cost arbitrations and such, he said you should look at that and see if it's something you'd be interested in. So
This is a good friend?
what's that?
This is a good friend?
Yeah, I've known him for quite some time.
Did he tell you about the time commitment?
Yeah.
All right.
He said give up your hobbies and
Only for 3 months.
keep
Right,
the cat before you
exactly.
leave.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with empty nest. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Trust me, you'll come to enjoy it. Okay, questions from Brian or Tom?
So you know the meetings are on Thursday evenings?
Yes.
Okay. Have you gone to any annual town meetings or any other
I've been to town
meetings?
meetings. I've watched them.
select board or any other committee meetings?
Yeah, the committee meetings, just the general town meetings.
Yeah.
Try to stay informed as much as I can.
Okay.
Have you been involved in your professional life in budgeting and things of that nature?
And that's kind of what I do.
That is what you do. So
Yeah.
budgeting is what you do.
Yeah, I'm a sales engineer / project manager.
Okay.
So not only do I get to come up with the budgets and sell a project, but then I also have to yell at myself later when I have to do the project for the money that I sold it for. So
Right.
it's,
In those capacities, are you working alone or are you working in a group or a small group or a small committee?
yeah, no, I mean, these are decent sized projects, so you're within a group.
Okay,
Right.
so group dynamics, or you're fine with those kind of,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, these are $10-15 million projects, so they're not,
Right.
like, you're not doing them yourself type of thing. I usually have a team of engineers and then a team of on-site supervisors and such.
okay.
to work with.
Yeah, I mean, this is a time when Tim, on the previous interviewee, I didn't have to say it because I know she knows it, but just for your sake, so, the time, you're coming in at the height of activity for the finance committee, so instead of twice a month on Thursdays, it's going to be probably more like every week for the most part, and there's a lot of budgetary pressures right now in the town, so. Obviously, there's going to be a lot in municipal finance that you won't know, and you'll be learning on the fly, and that's fine, because our hope, obviously, and we hope your hope, is to be on for a time, not just, a few months, but a few years. So, but you'll be looking, you're right in your assessment that if you want to learn about an organization, look at the budgeting, and that's how I came up too. I came up through the finance committee. And you'll meet and see the budgets of every department in town and be able to examine them, ask questions, et cetera, along with your committee members. And then with the town manager, have question and answers and kind of formulate. I mean, finance committee is officially an advisory committee to the town meeting, but you will be working closely, obviously, with the town manager and the finance director. You'll be the first people to ask questions. The budget will be presented department by department to you, in its entirety to you, as well as the select board. So very critical position. I don't know, I mean, that's the background. It sounds like you know what the background is already. Anyway, I'm just trying to see from your thing if there's any other questions I have. Do you have any questions about the Finance Committee?
No, I was kind of answered it there. It's like twice a month, but if you're busy, it's more often.
Right. In the summers, it'll be like maybe, it'd still be twice a month, but there'll be shorter meetings. This is the crunch time. From January through to town meeting, actually, middle of January, as soon as because we're just hired a new town manager, we're a little bit behind. The budget would have already come out last week, typically. So from then, end of January through town meeting, that's the crunch time. And there could be extra meetings depending, like last year, there were lots of extra meetings because of the override and questions about how the budget was going to be worked and reworked. On a normal, typical budget year, it's still more time intensive than the rest of the year, but wouldn't be anything like it was last year. This year, we still have similar pressures as last year, so we'll see where that goes.
Okay.
Do you have any problem being vocal in a committee?
No,
Good,
no.
because that is something that's going to be very important to hear. I mean, it's our job, our hope. In this case, we thought we'd have more interviewees than we have positions, so you can hope that the committee is representative as many portions and corners and demographics of the town as you can. As it turns out, so unless the third candidate is showing up, we're going to have two. But it's important that all of those factions are heard. So if people are there passively, that does not help the town, doesn't help town meeting. That's why I asked you if you have a problem being vocal.
No, not at all. It's probably
And
gets-
town meeting is the first Saturday in May, and it starts at 9 o'clock and it never ends until it's all done. But it's important that you be there. It's not critical, but it's extremely important because people are going to ask about the Finance Committee's opinion and votes on issues that come up. Sometimes you've deferred your vote until the actual town meeting. So I hope that that's a date that you're available, the first Saturday. I don't know if it's the 4th of May, but it's the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, it's always the first Saturday in May, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you ask the whole committee to give their opinion during a town meeting, or would you
No.
ask?
No, you take a vote. Typically, the articles that get mailed to everybody for the warrant would get voted on. Those that have financial impact will get voted on by the Finance Committee, and their joint vote would be reported to town meeting, both in the booklet, but if it was too late or a decision was deferred, as Mr. Murphy said, then you take a vote then. But that doesn't preclude somebody from the FinCom for speaking for their position, even if their position was different than the committee vote. So, we've had plenty of times when people have done that, not only in Finance Committee, but other committees and boards.
Okay.
Yeah. You just got to get on the good graces of the town moderator. I hope you can do that.
Very good.
But yeah, I mean, it's a very rewarding position. And,
Absolutely.
And I enjoyed my time there and
Good.
certainly introduced, you come out of that after a year or so, or two, certainly after the second budget cycle, you come out of that really having a significant grasp of how municipal government works and how municipal financing works.
That's a great time to start with the Finance Committee because the budget season is starting now. So you're really going to be in it completely. And we have a new town manager. So the whole idea of putting the budget together might be different this year, or probably will be different. So it's a great time to start.
Yeah, and we'll get you near the deep end. We'll give you semi-inflated floaties. Then we just push you in.
And only 2 concrete blocks.
No, with what you were saying, your background is, I think it should be fine. And, I guess I should point out that it's not the Finance Committee. It used to be, before we had a town charter in 2000, it used to be the Finance Committee worked with the Select Board and to develop the budget. It's not the Finance Committee's position to develop the budget now. It's advisory, to question, to give recommendations about what they feel, and to take votes to the town manager whose budget it is. So even for those people who don't know budgeting, but who have an opinion about, hey, I run my own household, so I know how cash flow works, I know how apportioning money works.
Right.
That's the important part. We're looking for people with common sense and analytic skills as well as financial skills.
Yeah, and willing to ask questions.
Yep,
Right. You're pulling in budgets for multiple different departments of the town.
correct.
Everybody wants the most grandeur thing they can get, but, you have to bring it all together to make sure it fits in what you can
Correct.
provide.
Correct.
And it's,
And it's like, it's like having children that sometimes, some years, some need more than others, and then other years, another department needs more addressing than others. Sometimes it has to do with capital purchases, sometimes it has to do with personnel, and it's about weighing those and about weighing what's going on in the state and the federal economy, global economy, and also what the needs of the town are. And there's lots of different, balancing scales to, kind of like a mobile, to try to get it right.
oh yeah, a lot of give and take between.
Yep.
And just, yeah, I understand that.
Cool.
And the fact that you've lived here for 25 years is helpful. It's not a requirement. We've had people that are fairly new residents, but you've been here a while, so you 25 years has given you a good perspective on the town as well. So
Where'd you live
people,
before
you'll be
here?
able to hear from people.
The wonderful town of Florida, actually. Yeah, so,
On my way there.
no, we lived in, I went to school in WPI.
Okay.
Nice,
And
me
then
too.
I went down south, lived with my parents. My dad was starting an HVAC company right when I was finishing school, so I went down to help him for a couple of years.
Gotcha.
And after I sweated off 30 pounds, I moved back up north. Florida's a nice place to visit.
Were you in northern or southern?
What's that?
Northern or southern Florida?
North Central, Gainesville.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the most humid place on earth, I think.
Well, yeah, probably compete with Houston, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it's among them, yes.
Yeah, it's warm.
Cool. I have no more questions, Mr. Moderator.
I have no more questions.
Right, okay, very good. Thank you very much for coming in, Michael. We're thrilled to have you interview. Appreciate that.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can hang around, you don't have to leave, but you're welcome to stay. Okay, so.
So is our third
I'm gonna
interviewee
call-
not here?
We can check
gonna
on
call
Zoom
out
one
to
more
see if Mr.
time. George Burden, is George Burden on Zoom?
Burden? It is 6:40.
Hold on, we're asking on Zoom if George is
Yeah,
here.
we're trying to find it, right.
Yeah, he's
Because
looking
there's
too.
somebody named Citizen who's muted, who has not unmuted the entire time we're here, but so I don't know if that's Mr. Burden, but it doesn't appear to be.
No.
I can see three other people, excuse me, that have been listening at least to the meeting, but none of them are Mr. Burden. And I think Mr. Burden is familiar with how to use the Zoom and to log on
Oh, yeah.
meetings, because I know he's done it in the past. So there must have been a reason that he decided not to come tonight, but just leave it at that. We did have one other person who had put in their name.
Scott
Mr.
Doucette.
Doucette, yep. And Mr. Doucette respectfully asked to have his name withdrawn for at least for the interview, because he's still working out some issues about his employment and volunteering on the committee. So I guess we'll just have to respect that for now. So I'll entertain any other discussion about those two issues, Mr. Burden and Mr. Doucette from the committee members. Any other discussion on those issues?
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So I'll entertain any motions that you might be inclined.
Well, I would make a motion that we appoint Anna Lockwood and Michael Rupp to the Finance Committee.
I'd second that motion.
A second, okay. Is there any further discussion about their candidacies?
Just that the term would expire June 30th, 2027.
2027.
And I will say that while I have no question that Ms. Lockwood will do well, because she's done so many things, I've said this with Mr. Passios when we appointed him here, that I think I voted against him because he was on so many things. I'm not a big fan of one person being on a million things or multiple things, but in this case, I will make an exception because we do need people who know the town on the committee, and we do need a full committee.
And, yeah, and we need it now. I mean, that's the
And,
reason.
that comment is not a comment against the candidate, it's against, I just don't like one person being on multiple things. I was hopeful that we would get 3 or 4 candidates to be able to choose from, but just that's the only caveat, and I will happily vote as I just moved to, for both candidates. I will happily vote for both candidates.
Okay, and with that discussion, I guess because we're on Zoom, we'll do a roll call. So Mr. Leighton,
Aye.
Mr. Alonso,
Aye?
and I for me. And that concludes the business of this committee. It is 6:43.
Before
And-
you adjourn, I just would,
Good.
because you're there and they're here, I will just say that I know Anna knows to go to the town clerk and get sworn
Thank
in.
you.
Mr. Rupp, go to the town clerk's office during one of their, during their open hours during the week and get sworn in. And we will send an email to the finance committee, and the chair will reach out to you both so that you know when the next meeting is.
Is
Yeah,
there,
you can attend the meetings.
yeah, I was going to
before you
say, I think the
sworn in.
mee's this Thursday, so if you can get
Yeah, so
to
if
the
you
clerk's
can get-
office Wednesday or Thursday,
I
that
mean, you
would be
can
good.
attend either way. You just won't be able to vote if you haven't been sworn in. But
Right,
please,
exactly.
if you could, get sworn in. It's going to be a lot
Right.
easier that way.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion. to
I'll make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn at 6:43 PM.
Thank you
Second?
very much. Second, okay. All in favor?
Roll call
Aye.
vote.
Roll call, yeah.
Roll call vote, sorry. Brian
Aye.
and Tom,
Aye.
and I for me, so we are adjourned at whatever Brian said, 6:44.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay,
Good
thank
evening.
you all for getting the meeting done, because I know the chair really wanted to
I'm
get
glad you
this-
had good internet this time.
Yes, much better, because I'm in a hotel this time instead of.
There
the
you go.
camp. All right, be
All
well,
right.
gentlemen. Thanks much.
Good night.
Thanks.
Thank you. Congratulations.